Jaduguda, a small town nestled in the hills of Jharkhand, holds a unique position in India's history. It is home to the country's first uranium mine, operational since the late 1960s. This mine, a source of national pride, has fueled India's nuclear ambitions for decades. The Uranium Corporation of India Limited, a public sector undertaking, manages the Jaduguda mine and several others in the region. The discovery of uranium in Jaduguda brought promises of progress and prosperity. For many locals, it meant employment opportunities and a chance to improve their lives. The mine, however, brought with it a hidden cost, one that the indigenous communities living in its shadow would come to pay dearly. Over the years, Jaduguda transformed from a sleepy town into a hub of uranium mining. The landscape changed dramatically, with vast open pits and towering structures replacing the once pristine environment. As the mine expanded its operations, so did the concerns of the people living in its vicinity. Whispers of strange illnesses and birth defects began to circulate among the communities living near the mine. These anxieties, initially dismissed as rumor, would soon turn into a chilling reality, exposing the darker side of India's nuclear aspirations. The true cost of Jaduguda's uranium boom is etched not in economic figures, but on the bodies and lives of its people. Over the years, a disturbing pattern of health problems has emerged among those residing near the mines and associated facilities. Congenital disabilities, once a rarity, have become alarmingly common. Children are being born with skeletal deformities, missing limbs and mental disabilities. These heart-wrenching cases have left families shattered and communities grappling with fear and uncertainty. The incidence of chronic illnesses, particularly respiratory problems, skin diseases and cancers, has also witnessed a sharp rise. Adding to the community's woes are the increasing cases of infertility, miscarriages, and stillbirths. The reproductive health of the population, particularly women, has been severely impacted, casting a long shadow over their future generations. The once vibrant communities around Jaduguda are now grappling with an insidious health crisis, their fears and anxieties amplified by the lack of transparency and adequate health care. At the heart of Jaduguda's health crisis lies the invisible threat of radiation. Uranium mining and processing release radioactive particles into the environment, posing serious risks to human health. Exposure to radiation can occur through various pathways: inhalation of radioactive dust, consumption of contaminated food and water, and direct external exposure. These radioactive particles have the insidious ability to damage DNA, the building blocks of life, leading to mutations and cell death. This damage can manifest in a myriad of ways, ranging from immediate effects like radiation sickness to long-term consequences like cancer and birth defects. The health problems plaguing the communities around Jaduguda, particularly congenital disabilities and cancers, bear the grim hallmarks of radiation exposure. Scientific studies have linked prolonged exposure to low-level radiation to an increased risk of these ailments. The presence of radioactive waste, a byproduct of uranium mining, further exacerbates the risks. The environmental toll of uranium mining in Jaduguda extends beyond radiation. The extraction and processing of uranium generate large amounts of waste rock and tailings, which often contain heavy metals and other toxic substances. These waste products, if not managed properly, can contaminate the surrounding soil and water sources, posing significant threats to human health and the ecosystem. Reports have emerged of elevated levels of heavy metals, such as lead, arsenic, and cadmium in the soil and water samples collected from the vicinity of the mine. These metals are known to have detrimental effects on human health, particularly on child development and organ function. The contamination of water sources is of particular concern, as it directly impacts the health of the communities that rely on them for drinking and irrigation. Long-term exposure to even low levels of heavy metals through contaminated water can lead to chronic illnesses and developmental problems. Section 5. UCIL and DAE, A Tale of Denial and Minimalism. The Uranium Corporation of India Limited, or UCL, and the Department of Atomic Energy, DAE, the government bodies responsible for uranium mining and nuclear energy in India, have consistently maintained that their operations meet the highest safety standards. They have often attributed the health problems in Jaduguda to other factors, such as poverty, malnutrition, and lack of sanitation. While these factors undoubtedly play a role in the overall health of any community, dismissing the potential impact of uranium mining is seen by many as a blatant disregard for the plight of the affected people. Independent studies and investigations have contradicted the official claims, highlighting the link between uranium mining and the health crisis in Jaduguda. The official stance of UCIL and DAE has been criticized for its lack of transparency and accountability. The affected communities have accused them of downplaying the risks, withholding crucial information, and failing to provide adequate healthcare and compensation. Section 6. Voices from the ground. The communities fight for justice. The communities living in the shadow of Jaduguda's uranium mines have not remained silent in the face of adversity. For decades, they have been raising their voices, demanding justice and recognition of their plight. Their demands are simple yet powerful: comprehensive health surveys to assess the true extent of the health crisis, improved safety measures at the mines to minimize further contamination, and adequate compensation for those affected by the adverse health impacts. Their struggle has been long and arduous, marked by protests, petitions, and legal battles. Despite facing intimidation and being labeled as anti-development, the communities have shown remarkable resilience in their fight for their rights. They are demanding accountability from UCIL and DAE, urging them to acknowledge the health and environmental impacts of uranium mining and take responsibility for the well-being of the affected communities. Their fight is not just about seeking redressal for the past, but also about securing a safe and healthy future for generations to come. Section 7. The global context: uranium mining and indigenous communities. The story of Jaduguda resonates with the experiences of indigenous communities around the world who have borne the brunt of uranium mining. From Australia to Canada, from Namibia to the United States, the pattern is eerily similar: environmental contamination, health problems, and a struggle for recognition and justice. Uranium mining, often located on or near indigenous lands, has disproportionately impacted these communities, threatening their health, livelihoods, and cultural heritage. The pursuit of nuclear energy, touted as a clean and efficient alternative, has come at a heavy price for many indigenous communities. Their fight for environmental justice has gained international attention, highlighting the need for ethical and sustainable practices in the mining industry. The struggle of Jaduguda's communities is a stark reminder that the quest for energy security should not come at the cost of human rights and environmental justice. Section 8. Striking a balance: energy needs versus human rights. The case of Jaduguda throws into sharp relief the complex dilemma of balancing the growing energy needs of a nation with the health and well-being of its people. India, with its burgeoning population and aspirations for economic growth, sees nuclear energy as a crucial component of its energy security strategy. Uranium, the fuel for nuclear reactors, is thus a strategic resource, and its extraction is often seen as a matter of national importance. However, the pursuit of energy security cannot come at the expense of human rights and environmental sustainability. The health and well-being of communities, particularly indigenous communities who are often the most vulnerable, must be paramount. There is a pressing need for a more nuanced and ethical approach to uranium mining, one that prioritizes the health and safety of workers and communities, minimizes environmental damage, and ensures the responsible management of radioactive waste. Investing in research and development of alternative energy sources, particularly renewable energy, is crucial to reduce dependence on uranium and mitigate the risks associated with its extraction. Section 9. The uncertain future of Jaduguda. As Jaduguda continues to fuel India's nuclear ambitions, the future remains uncertain for the communities grappling with the legacy of uranium mining. The health crisis persists, casting a long shadow over their lives and future generations. The fight for justice and accountability continues, with communities demanding recognition of their plight and concrete action to address their concerns. The story of Jaduguda stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of development and the ethical dilemmas posed by resource extraction. It calls for a paradigm shift in our approach to energy production, one that prioritizes human rights, environmental sustainability, and intergenerational equity. The future of Jaduguda hangs in the balance, a symbol of the complex choices we face as a nation and as a global community. It is a story that demands our attention, our empathy, and our collective action to ensure that the quest for progress does not come at the cost of human lives and dignity.